So it's business as usual. It's fixed.
The backlogs are certainly fixed. We had a lot of issues to. We've still got some work ahead of us. There's still a few issues with not having all of the things that we need in place for our IT. So it does mean that we've got some more people in and around to help keep things.
What effect is that having?
It means that things are slower than they should be. It means that it's not as automated as we had hoped. And that means extra effort on the part of my team and myself to make sure that we're getting back to people as quickly as possible.
How much has been spent?
Well, as we've talked before, as you just pointed out, about 16 million. Some of that was spent for additional staff.
So it hasn't gone up since then.
Look, we're continuing to focus on this and doing all that we can.
Yeah, but $16 million was about August last year. Has it gone up since then?
Look, we are bringing in additional people. That costs money, of course.
So how much are we up to now?
I don't have those figures in front of me. What we are doing is, I think it's really important that if someone has a query and someone has submitted an application to us, that we deal with that.
Well, it's important
ASAP.
how much money we've wasted here, though. I mean, I'm not arguing it had to be spent to fix it, but we've created a situation, and it wasn't your fault, you weren't there, that didn't work, and I'm told we've spent more than $20 million now. Is that possible?
I don't know what the figure is. What we are doing, the IT system needed to be changed. It was 20 years old. We've got new legislation that we had to enact. And so these changes have arisen because of that. And last year, we had some trouble, and we're definitely getting on top of that now.
Is it fixed?
We fixed the backlogs, yes.
Yeah, but is it fixed if I'm trying to deal with Fines Victoria now? Because I'm getting lots of messages from people saying it's not.
Look, certainly it's a complex system, the fine system. There are lots of messages that we send out to people. It's really important that if you do get a piece of correspondence from us, you deal with it quickly. You make inquiries. We've got information on our website. And as I said, if you've got a question, give us a ring. You can get through to us now in around 1 minute on average. So if you've got a question, reach out. The
Chief Commissioner tells me he still has extra staff working to try and clear this up. Why, if it's fixed?
Yes, these things take some time. We have had there have been additional staff for Victoria Police.
But they're still there.
A couple of them are still there. Yes,
only a
that's
couple.
correct.
He said we've got people doing the job with computers, is the way he put
it. As I said, some things are taking us longer than we'd had anticipated.
Okay. So what's still owed in outstanding fines?
We last year, and we continue to collect around about the same amount of money as we have always done.
No, last year was $66 million, wasn't it?
The gap, I'm not quite sure. Last year we've collected over $500 million worth of fines. Each week on our website, we collect about $3 million in payments.
We don't know how many are outstanding at the moment?
Most people, in fact, pay their fine on time. And in fact, we're seeing that a lot of people, about 10% more people are paying it earlier than they used to, which is really great. And what I would say is don't leave it too late. Get in touch. Make sure you make that payment and don't let it snowball.
Let's stop telling people what to do. They're trying to do it and it hasn't been working. What is still owed in outstanding fines?
I don't have that figure on the top of my head.
Righto. We've been told, what about warrants? How many warrants have been actioned in the past 12 to 14 months?
I think it's over about 32,000
so is there a backlog there still?
We've got a lot of warrants still to action.
How many?
Again, I don't have that figure off the top of my head.
To be fair, there's a lot of figures you haven't got here.
Well, there are a lot of figures. There are a lot of figures in this system. We deal with big numbers. We answer about 3,500 to 4,500 calls a day and issue 24,000 notices a day as well. So warrants is an area that we continue to focus on, and our sheriff officers are working really hard to get back to business as usual.
Have any more motorists lost their licences who should not have lost their licence?
Last year, when I came in October, we talked about that there had been
355, do we?
Yes, that's correct.
Any more?
What I can say is there are 397 people that we're aware of that have had a licence impact. So there is an increase since I last spoke to you, Neil, in October.
A licence impact meaning lost their licence when they shouldn't have?
Correct.
Another
that's right.
40?
That's correct, yes.
How can that happen? I mean, you knew there was a problem. You had 350, now another 40, but that's 40 lives stuffed around.
It is a really disappointing figure, and it is not with any comfort that I tell you that. And as what I can say is that as soon as these things come to our attention, we work really closely with Vic Roads and Victoria Police to correct that.
Did anybody who lost their licence and shouldn't have asked for compensation?
Interestingly, we've had one complaint, so I guess not. What if someone does have a query and they do think something has happened in error, I would encourage them to reach out and make contact with us.
How many roadblocks, sheriff enforcement roadblocks have there been?
There have been, I think, 3 or 4 towards the back end of last year. We're working on a program at the moment to increase that significantly.
So that'd be about 4 or 5 for the year.
That's correct, yes.
How many would you normally have in a year?
We'd normally do a lot more than that.
How many?
Well, in the tens and hundreds. So
tens and hundreds?
Hundreds, I would say. I mean,
so
they happen in...
Well, tell me it's not a problem. You say you normally do hundreds of roadblocks. You've done 4 or 5.
I'm not shying away from that. We've been significantly down on warrant activities. We are making headway in that, and we're increasing our activities all the time.
Is it right another sheriff has departed?
We've had some changes in the department, yes.
So another sheriff has departed?
Warwick Knight retired at the begining of this year, yes. And
how old was he?
I don't know what
was he due to retire, or did he say that this is too much of a mess and get out?
Warwick has had a long esteemed career in the public service, over 14 years, and 7 of those in the infringements area.
But when was he appointed?
Well, he has been in the area of enforcement for over 7 years.
No, but as sheriff, as the sheriff.
As the sheriff at the beginning of last year.
And he's retired. He's been there 5 minutes and he's retired.
He's had a long career in the public service, and he's going to do other things now. We've still got a lot of really committed people that are trying to do their best to get back to business as usual, and that's my commitment to everyone that's listening, is that we will get back on top of this. We will be enforcing warrants, but don't leave it too late. Don't wait for a sheriff to come knocking on the door, and make sure that you deal with these things early.
When will we be back on top of it? I mean, the then Attorney General told me it'd be fixed by August last year. When will you be on top of it?
We fix a significant amount. Those backlogs, as I described at the beginning, that's a really big improvement. We're able to deal with things in a manner that is really good now, and also if people have questions, we can deal with those in the moment.